primary, most important reason for using sales letters as a marketing tool is to make the customer aware of your product or service by engaging the reader with appropriate facts. B. Find an excuse for a future appointment. The sales letter can be used to make the consumer aware of future contact, for example, by visiting them in person or calling them for an appointment. C. Answering inquiries. If the customer is asked for additional information about a particular product or service at an earlier stage, a sales letter can be sent to respond to their questions. This in itself may be a basis for selling the product or service. D. General information. A sales letter can inform the consumer about the latest offers, products, services, sales, and so on. It may be any other information that you believe will interest the reader. The consumer may have specifically asked you to inform them of such information, or you may be targeting consumer groups exclusively. To figure out how you should write your cover letter, it is important to define your goals. If you are clear about your goal, it will be easy for you to apply the necessary technique. Here are some of them. Comparison between unsolicited proposals, brochures, and sales letters. Whether you are preparing a brochure or writing an unsolicited proposal, you can always do better by recognizing the similarities and differences between them. A brochure is a document about your products and services. It is often produced on a large scale and distributed incognito. Brochures come in different shapes and sizes and are usually printed in bright colors and with many graphics. An unsolicited offer is an article about your products and services. It is usually created independently and given to a specific person, even if it is someone you don't know too well. It often takes the form of a letter, unless it is a large document that is bound. A sales letter is a short offer and is always aimed at getting you to take a certain action. Depending on the situation, sales letters may or may not be addressed to specific people, and sometimes they are sent to people you do not know. So what is the dissimilarity? It turns out that in reality there is not much difference between them. All of them need to provide information and usually try to influence. Sometimes the main goal of a brochure is to provide information. A key differentiator is whether the brochure aims to get you to take a particular action. Marketing materials are almost always designed to encourage the reader to do something. That might be a visit to the store, a purchase, a visit to a website, or perhaps just a phone call. If your brochure simply delivers information, you should rethink it to make sure it's compelling and consider redesigning it to move people to action. If you have a call to action or something that you want the inspired potential customers, then it can be helpful to think of your brochure as an unsolicited proposal. The brochure should be designed to effectively persuade the reader to carry out the call to action. When writing a sales letter, you may not understand that it is not much different from a brochure that calls the reader to action. Try to focus on the aesthetics of the brochure. With both brochures and unsolicited offers, there is a danger of not having enough information about the reader. The more you know about the reader, the more persuasive you can be. However, brochures and unsolicited offers are often given to people you don't know too well, usually with the expectation of getting to know them better. The next time you create a brochure, unsolicited proposal, or sales letter, take the time to think about it as if it were one of the other documents. Use the comparison to improve the document, but be clear about your goals and audience. Segmentation, targeting, and position. When preparing your sales letter, you really need to know the product or service being offered, the market dynamics, and the reader's stated and unstated needs. There is no substitute for product or service knowledge. What does the product or service do for the person who needs it? How can the reader benefit from the purchase? What is the unique selling proposition of the product or service? To answer these questions, you should first distinguish the benefits from the features. The sales letter should be able to convince the reader to buy your products based on the benefits the product service offers, not on its features. A benefit is what the product or service offers and how the consumer benefits from the feature. A benefit is the specific result of the feature. A feature is what the product or service already has built in. The benefit is what encourages people to buy. For example, a refrigerator has a defrosting device. Feature. If this technology